trying to see quilt shops and work on the road is you never know what's going to happen. We've had some interesting things happen on this trip, one of which has been all the quilt shops that we've gone to visit have been closed. Even if it's their normal hours to be open, they've been closed. So I haven't been able to buy fabric, but I did bring some projects with me, some UFOs, which I figured if I had a chance I'd work on. This is one of them. This is my happy chicken. This is a song I used to sing to my chickens a long time ago. And when I didn't have access to a sewing machine, I made this little embroidery. And I always intended to make a little quilt. I think this is my original drawing of what I was going to do. So now that I have nothing else to work on, I've pulled out my little fabric stash that I have with me. You can see little bits here and there. And I have made a decision, drew up a couple different ideas. Now I know what I'm doing. I figured out what sizes I need to cut, and I'm going to cut some pieces, and I'm going to finish off this little quilt while I'm waiting to get to the quilt store that's actually open. It's things I've ever done. But since I forgot a little travel iron and I need to fuse something, I'm using my cast iron pan as an iron. We're going to see if it works. I don't even know if this will work or not. I mean, I know old irons are just chunks of cast iron. I have one of them in my sewing room. But I've never actually used it as an iron. And I don't know how hot you actually need something to be to fuse SF101 to the fabric. Okay, let's see. Looks like it started to fuse it, but it isn't quite hot enough to actually do it. So I'm gonna let my pan heat up a little more and then try it again. Okay, let's try this one more time. Oh, I think it might have worked. I'm gonna let that cool down, and I guess we'll see. Otherwise, if that doesn't stick, then I'll have to wait until I can find a baby iron, travel iron, because I have forgotten to, well, quilt stores have been closed, so I haven't been able to find one there. Any other stores we've been at, I've either forgotten to look, or when we've looked, we haven't found a travel iron, so hopefully soon we'll get this figured out. Okay, so if you ever wonder, if you're camping and you need an iron, my little Barberware pan worked better than the cast iron pan. And I don't have to worry about the bottom being dirty. So this actually worked, and that fused that piece on. Weird, huh? So while I have been unable to get to a quilt store, I've been working on an older project. This is one of them. I think you've seen it before. This is my Happy Chicken song. And I decided I'm going to do Prairie Points and then some other fabric around that. And then I may just put binding on it and be done because I just want to get it finished. I'd made a more elaborate plan and I really liked it. And as I was cutting out fabric for it, I realized the piece of batting that I had brought to put this on wasn't quite big enough. And I could buy other batting. Batting's easy to find, but part of this was, get old projects done. Part of it is using up what I have, and I had a piece that I had felt was perfect for this. And so I thought, instead of making it more complicated, this is a simpler design, which gets it done faster. And it uses up what I have without having to try to buy something different. So right now I have folded 2 1/4 inch squares. Yes, 2 1/4 inch to make my Prairie Points, and I've got them all lined up here on the edge. I'm going to stitch close to the edge just to keep them where they belong. And then I will cut out my next pieces and attach that. And that will be with the 1/4 inch seam that is where this is actually supposed to be. So that's what I'm doing right now. Having to change directions here because the way the little openings are on the Prairie Points, I don't want to have that going towards the presser foot. I want to make sure I'm going the other way so that it follows it. Otherwise I'm going to be fighting those trying to come open. I missed the edge on that one. I'll have to go back and do that a little bit better. I hadn't noticed my battery died earlier, so I'm now to the point of, I've got my Prairie Points done. I'm adding my borders. I have to say I like the Prairie Points. I think they're cute, but they leave a lot of bulk in here. I just broke a thread. Nope, my thread just ran out. If I can manage to get this seam finished. So close. Place to run out of thread. So now I have press this. So I'm doing this in two different directions. I'm doing the seam of the border in one direction, away from the quilt, so that there's at least one layer of bulk going a different direction. And then the rest will go towards so that the prairie points point out. It isn't too bad on the side, but the problem is where you have the side and the top meet, or the side and the bottom, you have the bulk all in the corner of everything meeting right there. So that is a lot of bulk. Do the same thing to this side. Okay, there we go. Happy chicken song. I do have a tiny bit of embroidery I was going to do around the border, so I need to do that. Get this thread out of here. And I have my batting already ready, and I have my backing, which will be this fabric. I debated using that one on the side, but decided I would use this for the back, and this will be my binding. So just about done, and that will be one more project off my list, and that will be something else I'm getting done while I can't get to a quilt store. Hopefully I can start doing that soon. Thanks for joining me.
I thought you were doing X's.
With the blue.
Oh.
Or do you think it would look better if I do blue for this line and green for the X's?
Oh, I thought you were doing X's with little dots in the middle, but you're doing that on the outside, then you're going to do X's on the inside?
Yes.
And dots in between the
Yeah,
X's.
because I had drawn, you can see where I have
Okay.
in pencil.
Yeah.
So I did that a long time ago. If I was doing it nowadays, I wouldn't mark that until I had this all stitched, and then I would mark it based on my straight line there, so because it's not going to be quite straight. It's going to be a little bit wonky.
Cool.
And also, my little X's are much closer to the line than I would do them.
But you can do them further away from the line, and when you wash it, that goes away, right?
It may or may not.
Okay.
So I will cover it, because that way I know it's not a problem.
Okay.